Welcome back, it's Ryzen, and today we're going to be going over the top 3 underrated characters. I'm here with Naya D. Hemmings, and what's up, Naya? How you doing?
I'm good, bro. Can't complain. I'm a little tired, but that's just life. It's time to preach the
Yeah,
greatness. Everyone knows one of the characters I'm going to mention anytime these days come up. So stay tuned.
yeah. So, you want to just, I'm pretty sure pretty much everybody who watches my channel also watches yours, but you want to just give like a quick introduction, explain yourself, all that?
Yeah, for sure. Nia D. Hemmings. I primarily do Tower of God and Kubera content. Tower of God being the most important thing that I do. I kind of started off with One Piece and stuff, but the people made their decision in terms of what it is they wanted me to cover in terms of views. So Tower of God is where I kind of hang my hat. I kind of do everything when it comes to Tower of God. I do like discussions. I talk about the chapters. I live react. I get other people in to get their opinions. We do tier listings and character analysis, scene analysis, all of those things. And currently, me and Vince, I'm gonna get you in some of these too, by the way, if you don't mind. Whenever you're free and have time, I'm doing a reread.
Yep.
We're calling it the Reclimb. And what we're doing is we're kind of going through the season 1 and 2 content to show people how there's been a bit of a paradigm shift in terms of how some characters and how they were portrayed. And maybe with that, people will start to understand where I'm coming from critically a lot better if I parse through it slowly. So, yeah.
That's pretty dope. That's a good concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to link Naya's channel in the description. Also, we did a collab. It was like, how long? Like a couple months ago now?
Yes. Yeah. The CBL stream.
Yeah, that's gonna be linked in the description as well. And I gotta say, since then, there has been a lot of Ryzen 4K character development in terms of my views on Tower of God. I know, like in your stream, like your viewers were calling me like the young, naive, starry-eyed. Nah, dude, it's all over, bro. I think I can comfortably say, dude, this is ass, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm not gonna lie. If you make, okay, you could probably relate to this, but like, I've made probably around like 50 Tower of God videos, and I'm at the point now where every time I think of Tower of God, I kind of want to kill myself, bro. Like, I'm just, I'm kind of done. I'm kind of done with it, dude. I'm not gonna lie. It's
I'm crying. Like, it took me so long. Like, I'll listen. I'm always very transparent about this, right? One of the main reasons that I still talk about Tower God to the degree that I do, I still I still like it. It's still my second favorite webtoon, right? It's not my favorite anymore. It got superseded by Kubera. But I have a monetary incentive to make Tower God content.
yeah.
That's why I do it. I honestly think a lot of the times I'm just whining and complaining, but people y'all like negativity, so I'll keep going with it. But there's times where like I gotta make a Tower God video or something, I'm just like, bro, I just don't. I just don't.
Yeah.
Anything else, but it is what it is.
I think a lot of what it is could probably be like, from what I understand about Bonehead's channel, he's a very positive and like he always is looking for like ways to hype up the series and say good things about it.
Mhm.
And I think there's like a really good contrast, I guess, with your content. So I think
Yeah.
that's definitely could be like one of the reasons. But I think I kind of realized that I started to like, I don't want to say hate, but like
You're seeing
in
the
the
cracks
last,
and the fissures, and it affects
yeah,
your
I think
ability to not ability, but like sometimes your like mood when you want to cover it.
yeah, because I think like as soon as the series went on hiatus, my first thought was, thank God I don't have to react to those those chapters anymore, dude. I'm thinking like, wait, don't I like that? And I was like, wait, I do like making chapter reviews, but I don't know about all that, dude. I think so I've been thinking about it a lot recently, like the way I view the series and all that. I think in the future I'm gonna stick to less like what's the word, quantity and more quality in terms of my Tower of God videos, because I think like, I don't know, I think like shitting out all these like these Tower of God videos is really getting to me, dude. I don't know, it's messing me up.
Nah, I feel it. I've been there because, like, honestly, until because I went to Florida, did a small road trip, and I was like off for about 16 days. So just to like not think about it for like those days, and like live life
Yeah.
and just kind of get away from it all, was very refreshing for me. And all things considered, for anyone who knows who I am, they also know that I'm a big One Piece fan, and I've been reading One Piece since I was about 11, 12, and I'm 29 today. So One Piece has grown with me throughout many phases of my life, and even One Piece is pissing me off, bro. So it's hard out here, man. it's tough.
Yeah,
it's
kind of
tough
how
out
it
here.
is.
Give Kubera a fair shake when you get time and get a chance, especially if you're someone who really cares about like storytelling and writing specifically. If that's something you care about at a high level, I really think you'll enjoy Kubera, but you do have to be a little patient with it.
The thing is, that's like kind of exactly what I'm looking for right now. Like, I want to read it, but like I don't really have that much time. I got people on Patreon paying me to read other series, so I'm kind of just chasing the bag right now, dude. Kind of just reading series that my patrons recommend me. And I reviewed one like yesterday, bro, and it was just kind of me like talking about like, okay, this is like ways you could enjoy it, and then at the end of the video I'm like, all right, but it's kind of ass though. Like, to be honest, it's some mid. Like,
is it mid that hits at least or no? Sometimes that mid be hitting.
I didn't. Nah, not for me. It was if you've heard of Manager Kim.
I've heard of it. It's a webtoon, right?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty boring.
I this might be, I don't know if this is a controversial take, because I don't know, because I haven't asked too many people except the kind of people in my camp, but I don't think like line webtoons from top to bottom, I don't think most of them are particularly really good. You can enjoy them for a variety of reasons: art, fights, you think the characters look cool, or like what is Simi call it, like husbandoisms, where like the boys are really good looking or the girls are really good looking, so it kind of hooks you in certain ways. But I actually don't think many of them are actually good. I just kind of enjoy them. Noblesse is my first one. I like Noblesse. Frankenstein is one of my favorite webtoon characters. I don't actually think Noblesse is that good from top to bottom. So
yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with I think the monetary system of webtoon itself. I was actually thinking about that. I was thinking like, why is like average quality of webtoon so bad? And I was thinking like it might have something to do with the coin system and how that works. Because like you like how most webtoons work. Like for me personally, how I read it, it's like going through just filler, dragged on, just the same thing, and then at like the last 2 seconds, cliffhanger. And that's just kind of every episode. And you're pretty much just chasing the dragon, reading for that 2-second cliffhanger at the end of every episode, and it's like, bro, what?
Yeah, it actually reminds me a little bit of like I make a complaint with a lot of 12 to 13 episode anime where it like tries to machine gun fire the entire plot at me with the last 2 to 3 episodes, where it just purposely withholds the things that I want to know, and then it's like, here's all of it in 44 minutes, and I'm like, bro, are you guys serious? So I'm cautiously optimistic about the future of Tower God. I hope that he really takes this break to like think about what he's doing. please think about how you've already established and set up other things, and let's try to be consistent for Pete's sake. SIU, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it might sound disrespectful, but I think SIU needs to go ahead and reread the what is it, that one arc that this arc is similar to, the workshop battle arc. I think SIU needs to go ahead and reread that and take some notes, bro. He needs to take notes on his own work
from top to bottom.
That work, because this next what is it, tournament arc, it better be like the workshop battle, bro, because like I need that level again, bro. That level of hype, mystery, like the complexities, all the characters. Like I need that again.
Yeah.
You ready to give I want to start out by giving me your third place. Is your list gonna be in order, or just like you're just listing off 3?
I was gonna list. I could just list off 3, but I could save the star of the show for last.
Okay, yeah, do that. So give me your third pick for the most underrated character in Tower of God.
Laure, Fonse called Laure, aka Young Sleep, and honestly, it's not even his fault because like he's not in the story like that, but. I am a little disappointed by the fact that I thought with the way that he was introduced and kind of utilized early, because he was one of the people that maybe pop big early. For those who don't know, I think every series has something that I call the hook moment. You might be enjoying it and reading it, but you're not strapped in until the end, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I know for most people it was the crown game, and for me that was like I would argue the crown game when Laure actually woke up and started shooting Shinsu against Anak. That was the second one for me. My first one is actually Han Sung Yu's examination, because that told me a lot about what I thought this series was gonna be about. Where I'm like, I could have been the strongest person here, no questions asked, and if I didn't have the courage to pick a door within 5 minutes, I would have lost. So I'm like, this is a series that won't be predicated on purely strength. I'm like, okay, I like where we're going with this. And also Laurel's speech about luck, I took that like pretty seriously, even though I still think that actually kind of holds up pretty well. So
it does, yeah.
Laure got up, he was going crazy. I'm like, okay, he's funny. I know he's like a subset of the Eurasia family, so I'm just kind of I saw him with Hatsu on his back. Hatsu's carrying on his back, and I'm just waiting for the moment where it's like it comes full circle. Like, I like this family. I like Irure. I like Drac. I like him. I like Laure a lot too. And I think Laure reading Shinsu in his sleep is pretty cool. And the concept, I think that should mean something. And it just never comes to fruition. And when I bring him up half the time, they're like, he's our regular, it doesn't matter. And I'm like, fair, but like, I want him to. So Laure's my first pick.
I think the biggest problem with that character is, I do agree, I do think he's underrated, but I think the biggest problem with his character is the fact that he hasn't like popped off yet, you know?
Yep.
I feel like with a character like that, like especially like, I don't know, it's kind of like a stereotype, like the sleeping genius or whatever, right? Like they have one in Black Clover. But like, you gotta have a moment where they wake up and go crazy. If you don't, then that kind of like, I don't know, because like with a character like that, that's like pretty much all you're waiting for, you know? The fact that Laure hasn't had that moment yet, kind of questionable for me.
And I don't even know if you'll ever get it, because I'm gonna be very honest with you. Like, I remember, I'm gonna butcher the name. I think it's called Donghei, Hatsu's blade. When I tell you I've been waiting to see, like, man, when he ignites it, what's he gonna do? What I got with Kendrick, DL, and Cha was not moving me, bro. I was unmoved. I said, no. Is this gonna be like Laure's moment? He gonna like wake up and it's like I stored all my sleep power and then do something stupid I don't
one
like.
Beam. Right? Like,
he
does one beam with it. He opens his eyes. He says, "This is all of my Shinsu." He fires one beam and he slightly damages a ranker, and there
you go.
But pack it up.
And then I'm just in the mud. So
yeah, I could definitely see that happening. All right, I guess I'll transition into my number 3 pick. I'm not really gonna go into any specific order, I guess, except for my number 1, who will be like most. But number 3, I have Ho. Now, I always call Ho like a girl. Like I do that in every single time I mention him.
Yeah, hold on.
And people always get mad in the comments. Like they're always like, "Oh, it's a guy, it's a guy." I never really like talked about why I call her. I always like kind of dance around. I'm like, "Oh yeah, it kind of has like long hair or whatever." Like realistically, I'm gonna just be real. Like I associate the word hoe with a female. Like that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. So whatever. I'm gonna probably say she a lot by accident, but I think the biggest thing about Ho's character is that I think he represents like Tower of God so well, right? Because you have all of these characters in season 1 that kind of like teach you about the tower in the smallest of ways, right? Like we have like Laure, right? Who's like a complete prodigy, right? But he does not work hard. He literally sleeps, right? That's kind of his thing. And it kind of like goes to accentuate the fact that like he doesn't have to work hard to surpass Ho. He can just sleep all day. And even if you disregard like, you know, the Shinsu reading and sleep, whatever, like the fact is that he's sleeping all day and he's still surpassing Ho by a landslide, right? We have Bomb. Bomb has 0 experience. He doesn't have any knowledge, and that proves that without any knowledge, you can still surpass Ho, right? We even have like somebody like Quaint, right? Like who, like the ranker with the red hair. That's his name, right?
Yeah, Quant.
Just a complete idiot, dude. That guy's mentally disabled, right? Like he's an idiot, and it shows that even without intelligence, you can still become a ranker if you have that natural talent. Like all of these characters in the series are just pushing the idea in season 1, early season 1, that you need natural talent. And then Ho is like the person, he's like intelligent, right? Like he's able to like scheme and do all that stuff. He's willing to work really hard. He has all these like good qualities that you'd want, right? He's willing to do anything for to climb up the tower, stuff, all that stuff you need. He does not have talent, right? And that is the downfall. And I think
Mhm.
having a character that represents that so perfectly, plays with all the other characters in that way, I think there's really good value in there. And I love the fact that he died, right? Because in Tower of God, a little bit like One Piece, not a lot of like heads rolling, right? And the fact that we had that death so early, I think established just a lot for the series in general. So that's my take on
No, that's all well said because you're right on the concept and idea that like this is why sometimes when people bring up certain things to me like experience and wisdom and hand-to-hand combat, I'm like, when has that ever mattered in this series?
yeah.
You have the potential and talent or the luck of being blessed, but whatever the case, and you win or you lose. It's that simple. So no, because it's like because it reminds me of when Laure says, I think he says, "Isn't God cruel?" When God first, like, you're first born, he shows you all the possibilities, things you can do, and then one day he says, "This is your limit." It kind of reminds me of that quote. So I'm like, it's really like, you're right. He's a representation of somebody in the tower who has all the right, like, kind of the right attitude. You want to train, want to be good, blah blah, but you just don't have that like latent talent that's gonna bloom and blossom and make you great. So it's like this is your limit already. I don't like Ho, but I agree with that.
Why don't you like him?
Oh, because he a hoe.
I was about
He
to
was
say
hating.
that
He was
too.
hating. I'm like, some hoe shit. He was hating.
Yeah, he could have killed Rachel though. That would have been
That would have given points, especially with the fandom.
He was on the Rachel hate train before it was even cool, you know?
Right?
It's crazy.
Yeah. My second one might surprise you, but I'll explain
Okay.
why I said it. I guess I should explain what I mean when I say underrated too, right?
Okay.
It's Karaka. And I don't think Karaka's necessarily lacking in like popularity in that sense, but overrated to me always means underrated. Sorry, I said underrated. I meant underrated. My bad. I said overrated.
Yeah.
Underrated to me means a character that just doesn't get as much credit as they deserve, for the most part. Is really how I see it.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
someone could say One Piece is overrated, and that's my favorite manga. I agree. It gets more praise, credit,
I
and
also agree.
adoration than it deserves.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's not good. So like that's kind of like how I see it, at least. So that's my definition. So
Okay.
with Karaka, right? Karaka is the Slayer that gets the least amount of respect. As a matter of fact, if you talk and ask anybody, right, and I don't even disagree with this, like they're like, man, Karaka, bro, like Bam's here. Who cares? Like they just kind of dismiss him. Like it's like Yama's kind of cool. I do think he's lost some stock in fandom's eyes in a general sense to some degree, but Yama's still cool. Listen, we know I'm not going to go into why. I just don't want to do this to myself again. I'm going to get sad.
Yeah, we don't have to. We did that enough last time. Yeah.
I'm going to get sad. But Karaka is always the one that kind of gets the shaft. Like no one cares. And it's just like quite literally. When Karaka comes up on screen sometimes, they just tease me because they're like, this guy sucks. He's a bozo. He's not going to do nothing. He just lose. He gets hurt. Bam, better than him. And I'm like, he doesn't even get any respect because I kind of blame SIU for this. Not even from a power standpoint. I don't think it's even that crazy that Bam was going to be stronger than him. We all knew that. But I think it's because of the paradigm shift that he did with his character, like the 180. The menacing Karaka that Yuri said is, oh, this is going to be my greatest enemy one day, type B at the end of the name hunt station. Pulling up on Juvio Grace with the pulling up to like help out, not help out Pedro, but like that's why he pulled up on Yuri and stuff like that. Menace, the one that's like master. I don't take off my mask for anyone I don't trust, and it's like he's completely lost that edge.
Yep.
And it's not to say he hasn't done a cool thing here or there, but as a result of him completely losing what it is that initially made us intrigued by him, I just think that everyone's kind of just indifferent. Like, well, Karaka, yeah, he's there. He's a little cool, a little metal armor, but I don't care. So that Yama guy is pretty cool, and or like they'll just talk about like Immort, or the people we haven't even seen, like way more excited about him. So I think Karaka's stock has just plummeted, and then as a result, he ends up being underrated. But again, I actually kind of blame SIU with that too, because also he went from ranker to higher ranker in those 2 years, and I don't know if that's justified.
No, I agree with what you said, but I disagree with the fact that he's like underrated, you know? Because I feel like you said it yourself, his stock plummeted, so I feel like he deserves to be rated less, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I'm not saying it's
um,
undeserving, I guess, but
yeah,
it is what it is. Like I can't bring up Karaka without getting roasted. So I just don't.
rightfully so, man. Dude, it's like all these authors have this problem where like they try to like there's are some exceptions, but like when you try to take an antagonist and then kind of like slowly make him like more of a thing where it's like he's helping out the protagonist, it's almost always gonna lose that flair and that excitement. I mean, there are some like crazy exceptions, like something like Vegeta who becomes like essential to the plot, right? Like the right hand, that's a huge exception. Like I'm talking like it's similar to the concept of like when you beat a boss in a video game and you get the boss weapon and the weapon that was just absolutely mowing your ass for like the past like hour, you get it and it's just complete garbage when you use it, it's
Yeah.
kind of like the same type of vibe. Like Baraka was kind of like when he was first introduced, like when he came, like when Sweet and Sour's formation, right? And he comes and he's like, yeah, we're gonna kill all these guys, right? And then Jin Sung Ha was like, hey man, we're gonna chill out, man. Hey, get out of here. And then like we see him go to Jin Sung and he's like, like you said, like being all ominous. Like you can never go back to that state once you have him like, being all, I don't know, being kind of a part of not a part of Team Bomb, but like once you have him being like a more supporting character, you lose that mystique, that like all that stuff.
And I think part of the thing that frustrates me too is because I actually think he did a good job. Like, so I don't know if you agree with this. It's a personal thing that I think about. So like I read a lot of comics. I've always been reading them. So like Thor was someone I used to always call the fall guy. A lot of times when Marvel wanted to prove that a new the fall guy, Thor
What does that mean?
no, like I'm gonna explain. Like he's the fall guy. Anytime Marvel
Oh.
wanted to prove that this new threat was credible, he beat Thor.
Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah.
Like a lot of times, like I understand why some series do it, and I think it makes sense a lot of the times where you make like the kind of badass character that's really strong that may not be the main character that is incredibly powerful. They lose, and you're like, oh. Think like if you like
Yeah.
MCU, think Thanos kind of just washing Hulk physically.
yeah.
And you're like, oh damn, this is the problem. But a smarter way that I think that a lot of authors do this is you introduce a character that's strong as hell, but you always have them fight up a weight class so they look a little less competent than they really are. He's fighting Yuri, Rek, characters of that ilk, right? So I'm like, him losing isn't shocking, but I still think that he's probably really strong. So it's almost like I thought SLU was trying to hide how powerful he really was by having him always be kind of out of his element. He comes out on the last station, there's all these rankers from the Jihad Empire and blah, 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 this X, Y, and Z. Yeah, I was wrong.
Kind of like a Jogo from Jujutsu Kaisen, where like the only characters he fights are like Gojo and Suguna. It's like, dang, bro, like short end of the stick or what? Like,
yeah, so.
yeah.
It hurts my feelings, but I don't want to go into it anymore. I'm going to be sad. Big Karaka great again. That's all I have to say.
For real, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. I never really liked Karaka too. I think we went over this in your stream as well. Like,
that's fair. I think I'm like the biggest Karaka fan that I know. So
my number 2, I have Ghost. Now, I do think that Ghost is, I think within hardcore fans of the series or people that like are really in like that watch like channels like ours, right? He's probably gonna be either rated or like just regularly rated or overrated. But I'm talking about like within like the average Tower of God reader, like the person that just like casually reads every once in a while or like reads the whole thing then just kind of like forgets the series. Ghost is somebody that like he doesn't really like stick with a lot of people, I found, because like when I read it, I just kind of read the series and I was like, yeah, that guy's pretty cool, and that's about it. But then once I started like dive into the lore and then like learn more about the character, get into the YouTube space, like see all these theories, I start to realize like, holy crap, there's a lot of depth to this character. Like the fact that he can use Shinwan Ryu, the fact that like his irregular status is like debate. Like we don't know if he's a regular, he's a regular. We really have no idea. Of course, there's like the theory that I made, and also I think it's I didn't make it, but I put my spin on it, and I think Dr. Bonehead did as well. The ghost is V theory. That's probably my favorite theory in Tower of God, just because of like how much evidence there is, but the fact that like SIU could still easily spin it the other way and have him be somebody completely different. Like, I don't know, something about this. I think he kind of takes what like Karaka is, but like in a completely different direction, like a masked, mysterious figure that like you don't really know his intentions, right? And I don't know, man. He's just like, I just think Ghost is probably the coolest character in Tower of God in terms of like mystique and the way SIU builds that up, and the fact that like he came back in season 3 and he still like, I feel like he kind of feeds us the perfect amount of this character where like gives us more information and he gives us like more like kind of badassery, but at the same time he gives us this feeling again like, yeah, you still know nothing about this guy. So I think that's really cool. And like also his like affiliations with Rachel, Hedon, like all that stuff, it's really interesting, man, to me personally.
He's a character that I forgot about until the 3rd season. When he came back, he just didn't want to react. And that's when I like, oh, okay, I gotta pay attention to it. I don't think I like the theory that he's V. I don't like it, but we'll just see what happens. But that being said, I've never actually heard the theory in depth. I just know that some people have said that. Some people said he's the 24th man. So
The 24th Bam, what the?
There's a couple of theories of like Bams like being reincarnated, or there's multiple versions. I don't know. I'm not a theory guy, so it's hard for me to go into this. I'm more of a, I analyze what is. I deconstruct what's already out, you know? I don't really prognosticate and go forward to that degree. It's not to say I don't have thoughts and expectations based on what I've seen, what's gonna happen in the future, but I don't usually get into it. At most, I'll read a theory, go through the evidence and the thought process, and I'll tell you if I think it's plausible, or at least it makes sense, or if somebody kind of gives me more of an idea of like their perspective, point of view, and how they're framing it. I'm like, if I was you and I thought this way, I can see why I could think that, but I don't, because I'm not you. But yeah, I've been trying to do this thing where I put myself in people's shoes sometimes now to understand their thought process better.
It's just it's pretty interesting. I also usually don't like theories. Like a lot of theories are just like, they kind of make me cringe because like they'll say some like super out of pocket random stuff, and it's kind of like conspiracy theories in real life, where they're like you kind of click on a video and it's like some guy's trying to explain to you why aliens are coming like in 3 years because of like some sort of like crop formations. Like, bro, like shut up, dude. Like kind of like that with like Tower of God as well, but I feel like
like every series, I think One Piece has the craziest theories though. I'm like, bro, can you guys stop?
Yeah.
Please stop.
One Piece theories are crazy, dude.
It's so off the wall. So Mew Love #1, he's the no, I'm kidding. It's actually not Mew Love. I don't think Mew Love. I think Mew Love
not?
I actually think Mew Love is properly rated, all things considered. I would have honestly picked, like, I usually just kind of just do this because I just like to insert Mew Love into anything. I find any and always to talk about him. I think he's kind of well rated because all things considered, I think since his comeback, and I don't know if it's just because I'm so excited about it, and I don't know if it permeated and trickled through the community to some degree, but people's opinion of him are pretty solid. They don't go crazy like I do, like he's the one. Like Mew Love is a good solid ranker with a good character, nice design, we like him. And I'm like, that's fair. Like I'm the one who puts more stock into him. But actually my choice is actually Hell Joe. I think Hell Joe is actually one of the more underrated antagonists. I remember having this talk with Inspirational like a year and a half ago. We were talking about Hell Joe, and I'm like, no, Hell Joe was actually quite a monster, like in terms of him being what he was on the floor of death. And when I kind of look back at Tower God antagonist, he actually starts to stick out to me more and more in retrospect, because I'm like, he was basically God on that floor, and the main reason he lost is because there was Urek was there, but like 2 irregulars, and Bam had a store and stuff. And then when I think about like, I think he's actually like an interesting character. Like I know the Red Thressa or whatever, however you say it, like takes him over and everything, but I actually think that like relationship with him and Urek, Hell Joe being a whole repairman with dreams, and Urek like trying to give him some power to help him out, and then not going well, and him saying that you were kind of more formidable, I had more respect for you when you didn't have this power, you don't need this Joe kind of thing, and how it all plays out, shakes out, like, yo, I'm not you, Urek, I'm not a monster, I can't just win, like I have nothing now. And like how it transitions to the conversation with Gus Dang about them being like, Bugs, if you sneezed, you would like blow them away. He's
Yeah.
like, this is why I don't like you guys. You're so like condescending and uppity. And he walks away like, let's erase their memories type of thing. Like, and I was like, man, we're not really thinking about that. And I actually think Helljoe's kind of funny too, because of like, I need to read this comic. I'm like, I feel that. Don't bother me. And it's like, Karaka, you gave me a TV with just the news. And Karaka's like, isn't the news great? I always watch the news. And I was just like, Helljoe's actually a really good character. And I'm not saying he's like, if he leaves, even if I think with the Red Thrissa and everything, if he leaves the floor of death, he's not nearly as formidable. He has to be he's one of those characters like in his domain and in his realm, if you so to speak, he's kind of like God. But I think he was scary because he even scratched Yuri, and that's not a feat that anyone else has been able to do, all things considered. He drew blood from Yuri. That's impressive.
Yeah, Helljoe, honestly, like, okay, when I did like my my arc ranking video, I talked about like the Hellfloor arc.
Mm-hmm.
In that video, I was kind of tweaking that video. I made like a lot of really bad takes in that video, but one of them was saying that Helljoe was like boring, like a bad antagonist. Then people were commenting about it like, oh dude, like he's actually pretty good. And then I reread a lot of the portions for like other videos, like researching or whatever, and I gotta say, dude, I actually like really agree with your take. I feel like I feel like I was kind of in this mindset when reading the Hellfloor where I was just like, this arc is boring, I need to plow through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
You're not
I feel
alone,
like I didn't
by the
really
way.
get to appreciate what?
No, like, you're not alone. Like, that arc was actually
Oh.
very divisive when it came out. It was pretty contentious.
I thought you said I don't know about all that. I was about to
Oh,
say
no,
like,
no,
what,
no,
you
no,
think
no.
that arc is?
No, I like the Floor of Death, but I'm just saying, like, when it came out, it was pretty polarizing. So, like, you're not alone there.
Yeah. So I feel like, yeah, you're right. I feel like Helljoe is pretty underrated as an antagonist. I feel like he does not get talked about enough.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
And I fully could like be the one to like put some respect. Maybe I'll make the video soon, but yeah.
Yeah. That's a good video. I think another thing, he represents kind of like a main character could have like represents what your average main character could easily turn into, you know? Like somebody who's like powerless, who has these like grandiose goal and ambition, suddenly comes across this insane power. You know, what do they do? What does it do to them? I feel like it's a more like realistic, a more twisted take on that, and I feel like there's a lot of value in that. And I feel like,
Corrupts.
especially when you
Absolute
compare
power
it to-
corrupts absolute. They say absolute power corrupts
Yeah.
absolutely, something like that. So it's a good tale of that too, and in a lot of ways it kind of not similar to Ho, but there's a couple of parallels or like a little bit of overlap, in a sense where it's like somebody who was probably not, but didn't have that much potential, was basically told already like this is your limit, especially when Urek is one of the people that are like the one that come like you'll never be him. So it's kind of interesting too, because it's like you had a limit even with the Red Thrissa.
My number one most underrated character in Tower of God, you might know this already if you watch the video, but it's Daniel. I think Daniel is the most underrated character in the series for the same reasons that I named. Yeah, for the same reasons I named in that video. I think he's like his personality. He's really cool. Like, kind of has all these like badass lines. He's kind of like slick, kind of like sadistic in a way. His personality kind of reminds me like of a little bit like Kun Ran in terms of like his like how like he has kind of like a bad attitude and like he's like aggressive, but at the same time he has like a kind of like a humorous twist on that kind of persona.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really entertaining to read, and his abilities are sick, man. The necromancy Shinsu, it's badass. It looks really cool. He can like absorb Shinsu, do all this unique stuff. His moves look really cool as well, like the way they're drawn, and his character arc was probably like it was a whole complete arc like that. We really don't get that too much in stories like this, like long stories. We kind of just get like a repetition of the same thing. But no, with Daniel we had one complete compelling arc with a beginning and an end, and I think there's like great value in that, and that's maybe one of the reasons why he's not returning in this series. But I do feel like once a character has a completed arc, you can like return them for like a cool moment, then kill them off for for value, I guess. But like either way, I think Daniel's arc was one of the best written character arcs in the entirety of this series, And it actually
I like
probably
his
gave me the
motivations
most,
too. So his motivations were
yeah,
pretty good.
gave me like the most emotional moments in the series. Like when he realized that like he could never get Rowan back, and like when he realized how much he loved her and he wished that he was the one to die. I don't know, man. Just some really good like emotional stuff that I really appreciated, and that we don't get enough in Tower of God.
Nope, we do not. I sometimes wonder. 'Cause I was thinking about this in my head the other day, and I'm gonna go through it and see. But like, I wonder sometimes if like these authors and stuff forget how they were able to kind of capture the crowds or their fans or readers like emotions and whatever, and they do these cheap things to try to recreate it, and it doesn't move us because for some reason it did for some people. But honestly, when White just brought up that, oh, I ate our captor and prince, I just rolled my eyes. Like,
Same.
that's not making me like, that's cheap, bro. Like a try to cheaply get emotional get an emotional reaction on somebody. And as far as I'm concerned, that's only gonna work on somebody who's kind of a casual or doesn't really just kind of just reads to read kind of thing. Like me, I'm looking at you like, I read this story, right? Like I actually read it. Like, you're not tricking me. This is not it. Turn it off. So, but yeah, no, I think this is good. I like Daniel. Daniel was actually a really good character. He's one of the only ones I kind of like from that Hell Train group. Actually,
Same.
I wanted to like the Mad Dog, but he's mid, so I don't care about any of them.
Mid dog, that guy's garbage, man. He doesn't.
So I actually made a video about the third one because somebody asked me if I thought they would be important. I'm like, you guys still care about them in general? That's kind of like, I thought I made the video because I couldn't believe someone still cared. That's why I made it. So I was like, that's funny. I was like, no, I don't think he matters at all.
People who care about like every little facet of the lore. That's kind of why, like, bro, like I said, I'm getting tired of Tower of God, bro. Like